Assalamu alaikum. I think my hello got cut off. So, hello, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And today, yeah, reason why it's important. This is supposed to be now the holy nights, right? The last 10 holy nights, the last 10 utmost sacred nights of Ramadan. In Islam, there is no concept of dividing the month of Ramadan into three parts, which is a very popular concept, especially in the subcontinent. It is popularized for God knows what reason, but it is basically essentially a bid'at, an innovation. In Islam, the concept is the whole month. The whole month is holy. The whole month is sacred. The whole month is about forgiveness. The whole month is about mercy. The whole month is about reflection and meditation. So, but the last 10 days, that is where there is the Islamic concept of the last 10 days, the last 10 nights, actually nights of Ramadan are extremely important. These are the last 10 nights when you actually let go of the worldly affairs and you go into isolation for those who wish to. That is when you choose to go into isolation. It can be the last 10 complete nights, or it can be the last, it can be any of the last odd nights. It can be the last 7 nights, the last 5 nights, the last 3 nights, the last 1 night. It's up to you, the last 9 nights. It's up to you how many days or nights, or you want to stay in seclusion. And now, this is again where I come into talking about our country calling itself Islamic Republic of Pakistan when there is nothing Islamic about this country. And this is also where, once again, I'm going to call out those people who teach Quran classes and Hadith classes and have these darses, where they gather people and have some sort of a religious group going on, as in religious grouping in the sense, dars is where you gather people in the name of talking about religion or teaching religion, and you sit. But now, here's again, if you remember, I've actually talked about this because this is one of my pet peeves. I've talked about it many times in my previous podcasts. My biggest problem with these people is, why are you going around teaching educated people? I don't think you're going to get any reward or any bonuses for this from God, seriously. And I wouldn't even understand it if you did get it, because it doesn't make any sense. In Islam, the whole point of educating somebody is educating them about something they do not know, and educating somebody who is ignorant, right? 80% of our population still fall into that category of people who have no sense whatsoever with regards to both worldly as well as spiritual or Islamic education, as in proper education in any case. 80% of our people who live in villages and who come from remote areas, and they still practice pagan practices, even though they call themselves Muslims, they still don't even know the kalma. They don't even know how to pray. They don't even know how to read the Quran. They don't know jack shit. And yet you are sitting here acting all high and mighty as if you're doing such a rewardable job by collecting educated, rich, or middle class educated women and men, and then you do your Quran classes and you do your darses and you do your hadiths. Like, seriously, if you really, really are serious about it, you would go there. Yeah, you would go there, or you will grab hold of all those people who have come here into the urban areas from villages. You would grab them and you would tell them, okay, you know what, let's do a Quran class, let's do a hadith class, let's do a dars, let's teach you about Islam, let's give you the right, let's actually teach you how to pray, let's teach you what the kalma is, let's teach you what Islam is all about, let's educate you, right? Then that would make sense. Yeah, if you were really serious about your job. But this just proves my point, that these people are just, there are only two reasons why people would go and would do this, these Quran classes or these classes, darses. Socialize. Yeah, they just want to socialize and make connections, right? Or they are taking the easy way out, hoping that they will still get the reward of imparting Islamic knowledge. Yeah. And I think neither of them deserve so much, to be honest, reward compared to that person who would reach out to those people who are really jahil, who are really ignorant, and teach them the concept of Islam because they have no real concept. You know, I mean, just look at our army. Look at our army chief. He calls himself a Hafiz Quran, and he likes to quote from the Quran, which I've constantly said he's not even quoting from the Quran. He's literally reading because I've not seen him quote from the Quran properly. Whenever I've seen him quote, he literally has his eyes glued on a paper. It means he's not a Hafiz Quran. Number one. Number two, Hafiz Quran doesn't mean you know the Quran. It just means that you've learned the Quran by heart. But do you even know what you're saying, what you're reading, what it means? Well, ideally, yes, they're supposed to. Ideally, when they learn the whole Quran by heart, they're also supposed to know the translation. But seriously, who really does? In my opinion, I'm sorry, but I'm very skeptical about these people because I don't see them practicing. You see, they think that, oh, we've learned the Quran by heart and we're getting a reward. Yeah, okay, maybe. But I don't think you're going to get a reward if you have learned the Quran by heart, but you're not practicing even a single verse worth. As I said, like, look at our government and look at our army. Well, and I'm sorry to say, but I am ready to even issue a fatwa if I have to against them, declaring the fact that they are not Muslims, because I've said that from day one, that whenever you have to pledge your loyalties to the British and the Americans or the Zionists, they're all the same. Whenever you have to pledge your loyalties, there are two things you have to renounce: your faith, which is your religion, by the way. You renounce your religion and you renounce your country's sovereignty. Okay? And that is exactly how you get the job. So they're definitely not Muslims, which they've proved time and again. They never respected Ramzan, they never respected any other holy occasion, but they have been giving more importance to innovative, non Sharia compliant events and occasions. They are heavily pushing towards a Zionism induced system, which means that they want full control and people do not exist except as mere cattle to fill in the void for them. This is all a Zionist or a secular thought. This is not the thought of a Muslim, you know. As Muslims, we must remember that all lives are sacred. And yet, since this government and this army has come, tell me which life has been sacred. The only difference is before they used to do it in hiding, and now since this army chief has come, they're doing it in plain sight, especially because Maryam Nawaz has taken up the reins. So when Maryam Nawaz has taken up the reins, then obviously everything is going to be in front of the whole world, for the whole world to see. Since this government and this army have come, women have been insulted, offended, physically attacked. They have been kidnapped. They have been arrested for no good reason. Younger children, same thing. Older people, same thing. It means all the people that in Islam you're not allowed to touch, they've been touched. And then Maryam Nawaz goes ahead and makes up the CCD, which is literally a part of the Punjab police that is given carte blanche. Yes, it's given carte blanche to just go ahead and become God and be the law. So there is no law that applies to them, and they do not apply any law. They can choose whoever to kill and call it an encounter. They can choose whoever to torture and claim the person a criminal. They can choose whatever to do. However, they are basically gangsters in uniforms. As if Punjab police itself wasn't enough. After all, Punjab police is already known to be the Nawaz Sharif's, the Sharif family's gangsters in uniform. I don't know why they needed a highly specialized gangster unit, but there you have it. Since CCD has come into being and since the Punjab police have been activated full on in gangster mode, it's become so bad that people who have come from abroad on trumped up charges and cases just to clear their name. I don't know even why people are doing that. Can you please just stay abroad and not come to Pakistan thinking you can clear your name? I mean, what kind of a fool's paradise are you people living in? Thinking that, I have nothing to hide. Oh, I'll come to Pakistan. I'll clear my name. Please don't. Okay? God will clear your name if he has to. You don't have to clear your name when this government or this army or this police is involved. Please just stay safe and stay in your own countries, overseas, wherever you are. People coming here to clear their names on trumped up charges are getting killed in an encounter after being freed by courts. You know, we've had 2 to 3 such cases, with the recent most again, just a day or two ago. This is what we're dealing with. And then, as if again that wasn't enough, now you've got scammers, voice phishing. You've got scammers now who are literally claiming to be the CCD, or claiming to be with the CCD, or claiming to have some sort of a collab tag team going on with the CCD, saying that, oh, we've kidnapped your family member. And then they start threatening and blackmailing the person. And the worst part is they seem to know when to call, in the sense that they will call you at a time when you're at your most vulnerable and you're not alert. For example, you're probably asleep and you've woken up from their calls. And when you're asleep and a call wakes you up like this, then that is really when your mind is so busy processing what's going on. You're taking time to because normally in an everyday routine, when you're already awake and about and working, and when you get such calls, you would just slam the phone down and say, you know what, F you motherfracker. But no, when you're asleep and you're waken up by such a call where they claim to be from the police and they claim to have kidnapped and held your family member, and then they start threatening you, and then they've thanks to the AI, thanks to AI, now they can make up trumped up videos or audios that sound exactly or look exactly like your family member to prove to you that they have them. And then well, obviously this is actually a hint and a tip. When people call you and they act rude with you and try to force you to listen to them, it means they're scammers. Yes, they're frauds. If it is somebody who even calls you to say, oh, I'm sorry, but accidentally my money got sent into your Jazz Cash account, you've got the OTP, can you please send me the code and send me back the money? Yeah. And then if you try to ask them a few questions and they start acting very rude and they're like, what's your problem if you all you have to do is to just send me back my money and this and that. Yeah, you know what? They're scams. The minute a person gets rude with you, understand that they're being rude with you because they're scared that you are catching on their scam. And it's their psychology anyway. They think that if they get rude with you and if they push you hard, then they will rattle you enough, or make your mind go blank enough that they can get what it is that they want. And it 9 times out of 10, to be honest, it works. It works on a very alert person too. So, but now keep that in mind. The minute somebody calls you and tries to ask you for something and then acts rude or tries to press you or tries to push you or tries to pressure you, that person is a fraud and a scam, and you need to just block that person and report their number, right? Although our cybercrime is pretty useless, our cybercrime and our police and our government, they are all themselves criminals. So there is somebody in these departments that are backing these criminals. Because remember one thing, especially in a place like Pakistan, nobody can thrive without the backing of these government law enforcement agencies and sectors. Okay, so for example, these people who are going around scamming people pretending to be the CCD and saying, oh, we've got your family member, we're going to put this case on him, we're going to put a case of torture on him, we're going to put a case of terrorism on him, we're going to put a case of raping on him, and if you don't give us so and so much money, then we're going to kill him right here and right now and this and that, and you'll never. Okay, you know what the first question that one needs to ask, in case this is now for those people who, even when they're alert, even when they're in their normal senses, when they get rattled and confused, first thing you need to ask them is, okay, so if you really are who you say you are, tell me which police station you're at, and I'm coming there. We're going to talk at the police station. And then obviously they're going to put the phone down, or they're going to start fighting with you saying, oh, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think that? Oh, I have proof of this, I have proof of that. Then you're like, even then, even if they try to push you further, just say, that's all fine and dandy. You tell me which police station you are. I'm calling the SHO and I'm coming over and we're going to talk. The other thing you can say to them is, oh, okay, if he's such a criminal, go ahead and do whatever you want to. Follow the law. These are the two things you can do, right? And that will rattle them. So, in any case, get their numbers, report them to the cybercrime, and block them. Okay? But as I said, most of these people, they have, in fact, almost all of them, there's not a single criminal gang here that is not backed by the police. And then the police is in turn backed by a minister in the government, who in turn is backed by the prime minister himself. This is how it works whenever you have Nawaz Sharif and Zardari in the government. Because they are the OG gangsters, they are the mafia, they are the dons of their respective mafias. Sharif family are the mafia of Punjab, and they're always trying to finger KBK and Balochistan, by the way. So that is why they keep on blaming Punjab. It's because this grand mafia of Punjab, on one end, keeps on fingering KPK. And then you have the other grand mafia of Sindh, which is Zardari, that goes into parts of Balochistan. Okay, that's how it works. But they are concentrated mainly and active mainly in their respective provinces, Punjab and Sindh. Right? And they collaborate with each other too, if needed, as you can see, whenever they form united governments. So, yeah, I mean, this is the so-called Islamic Republic of Pakistan, where in the last 10 holy nights are about to begin. Today's, in fact, you can say technically they have begun. They began 2 days ago, because this is the 23rd of Ramadan. And people are calling people and scamming them and robbing them blind. People are going to people's homes, ringing their doorbells and begging. And when people are ignoring them, then they're literally threatening them, telling them, I know who lives in your house. Yeah, here's another case. People coming begging, and then when you refuse to give them money, then they're literally threatening you, saying that they know all your family members. They take their names. They tell you who's at home and who's not. And so then you get a clearer picture. This is exactly what I was saying when I said that when this government will come, expect crime rates to rise, expect chaos, expect street crimes, expect wars, expect terrorism. And every single thing has come to pass, as you can see, every single thing. There's not a single thing that I said, to expect that hasn't happened. We are fighting non-existent wars, with countries that we have no wars with, like Afghanistan. Why would you want to finger them? We have we have had non-existent terrorist incidents, which means the army itself is the terrorist. They're the ones committing the terrorism. They're the ones pretending to get rid of those terrorists. God knows how many lives they've killed, and just to cement their position. Life is not sacred for these people. And then you have scammers and voice phishing scams, and you have people. And then this tells you again it also tells you what I've been trying to explain. When, remember, years ago when we had to show our ID cards everywhere, and I talked about this, saying that this is the worst idea ever and this needs to stop, because our ID cards, they hold our personal information. You don't go around giving your ID cards to the delivery people, to the bank, to this, to that. And how many times does your bank want to see your ID card anyway? It doesn't seem to want to see your ID card. It doesn't seem to want to call you when somebody comes in with a forced check. Or it doesn't even want to know anything about your ID card when money is stolen out of your ATM. But it wants your ID card when you're standing right in front of them physically. This just shows the height of irresponsibility, the height of unprofessionalism, the height of unethical business practices that are going on, and the fact that, again, why do we have to show our ID cards everywhere? This was one of the worst decisions that ever would have been made, that ever was made, actually, by the governments. even previously and now. And now, obviously, now we don't have to show our ID cards anywhere because now you don't need to, because now our data is already leaked. Thanks to the army. The army itself has leaked our data on the dark web. They've been selling our information to criminals. And this is on the record, by the way. This is not just a rumor or a lie. This is something that bona fide journalists and analysts have confirmed. And as I told you, crime rate, again, why do you think they were leaking our information to criminals? Our own army leaking our own information to criminals. And then suddenly you're finding all these voice phishing scams where they have AI, where they even know what your family member sounds like or looks like. Yeah. They have all your information that is given in your ID card. You can see it because the way they try to give the information of what they know about you, it's very clear that they're using your ID card, that they're getting that information from your ID card, which is supposed to be your ID, is your profile information is supposed to be private, but Nadra has been sharing even overseas Pakistanis information with this army so that they can go and harm them and kidnap their families here in Pakistan and threaten them there in their other countries where they're residing. And that just tells you, again, obviously people are going to fall for the scams. I mean, if CCD claims that these are scams and this really isn't us and we're not calling people and threatening them and demanding ransom for non-existent kidnaps, well, then if you're not the ones, then you've just proved yourselves to be inefficient. It's easy for you to go around framing innocent citizens and doing whatever it is that you want with them, but you cannot even catch culprits. You see, so either you're so inefficient that you cannot catch criminals, or you really are working with the criminals, or you are the criminals. Either way, the CCD is responsible for what's going on. Either way, the Punjab police is responsible, which means either way, Mariam Nawaz is responsible for what's going on. And it proves my point again and again, where I say that Pakistan is not a Muslim country. There are no Muslims here. I'm sorry. They're if you are a Muslim, again, the worst of the worst Muslim has his boundaries. Okay, the worst of the worst Muslim will never initiate a war with another Muslim country or any other country during Ramadan unless pushed. The worst of the worst Muslim will never desecrate Ramadan as a whole throughout the month. They will try their best to do as much as they can to wash themselves of their previous sins. Just like going for pilgrimage, really. Just like the act of going for pilgrimage makes them think that, oh, we're washing ours, which they're not, by the way. They will never wash themselves of their sins. Going for pilgrimage does not wash you of your sins. Not if you're these kind of people. And similarly, in Ramzan you can try all you want to, but you're not washing off your sins. There is no making black money white when it comes to sins, and even when it comes to money in Islam. So when you're going around scamming people, robbing people, doing Reiki in people's homes, people coming from villages now, that's another thing which I said would happen. Because it happens every time every time you want to strike chaos in a country, and every time you want to create a crime rate scenario, you will create situations where there is no job. There is, as we already are in that point, there are no jobs, there is no employment, there is financial crisis, people are not getting their rights. Then people then start. And in Pakistan, where people are famous for already having corrupt minds, people in Pakistan have always used their brains for wrong things. They've never used their brains to do the right thing the right way. No. And they think that this is talent. This is not talent. This just shows that you're the spawns of the devil, really. This is not a talent at all. In fact, it's very easy to go wrong. What would have been a talent would have been you using those same brains and that same talent to do something good and to work hard and to earn halal. Because again, the concept of halal and haram is completely gone in Pakistan. People do not know now even how to differentiate between what is haram and what is halal in their earnings. Seriously, I'm not just saying these things. I've said these things so many times, and every single time I've touched upon this subject, I've constantly said this, that these are not just words that I'm saying. I am literally meaning these words. These words are actually true, and you should please understand the implications behind these words. Okay? I'm not just saying these words. No. This is exactly what is happening in this country. It's been happening for decades. And I was the only one screaming for decades, but now many people are saying this, thankfully. I was the only one who used to say that there is a special hell that God has created just for Pakistanis. But now you will see veteran journalists and analysts like Mohit Pirzada saying the same thing. Yeah, which means he's probably read my comments. And then, or maybe he suddenly has now somehow it has seeped into his mind too. But anyway, I was the only one who for 17 to 20 years have been saying that this country, these people, they would sell their mothers if it could give them dollars and money. And now many people are saying this. You know why many people are saying things that I used to say eons ago? It's because these are facts. So even if they never heard me say it before, the fact that they're saying the exact same thing tells you that this is exactly what is going on. This is how people are. This is how our society has become, that it forces one to reach to that same conclusion. So even if somebody has never heard me, even if somebody has never listened to my podcast, even if somebody has never read my posts online, but if they're saying the exact same thing I am years after I've said it, or months after I've said it, it's because they have arrived at that exact same conclusion that I have. Why? Because they have connected the same dots, because they've witnessed the same things, because they are looking around them as well, they're observing, they are understanding. And when we look at what is going on around us, then any sane person would reach the exact same conclusion. And when now a huge majority of us have arrived at this conclusion, then what does it mean? It means something is wrong. If we've all now realized that these people in Pakistan who claim to be Muslims are not Muslims, because again, if they were Muslims, the worst of the worst Muslim holds Ramzan sacred. The worst of the worst Muslim holds this month so sacred that they would take pride in themselves in even trying to be a good person, even when they're not. And now you see people in these, especially last 10 holy nights of Ramzan, which are the most holy nights of Ramzan. During these days, you're seeing people going around scamming people, or hurting people, or fighting with people, or waging wars with people, or going into people's homes and robbing them. Why? Because they believe in, get rich quick schemes, overnight rich schemes. You don't get rich overnight. You don't get rich quickly. And again, you know what? I challenge it, and I've said this also in my podcasts before. I challenge these people to go and try it with the elite. Because that's another thing I don't understand. What kind of a freaking thief are you that you are going around hurting people who are only slightly better off than you are? People who are literally working their asses off to make ends meet. Why don't you have the guts? I challenge you. I challenge you to go and try this with the elite. Try this with the people who are in the police enforcement. Try this with the people who are in the army. Try this with the government. Try this with the ministers. Try this with the bureaucracy. Try this with people who are in the top positions in public sectors. Try this with those people. I would love to hear that somebody went and scammed Maryam Nawaz. But why doesn't it happen? Why don't these terrorists kill these people? Why is it that these terrorists always kill other people, poor people? Why is it that these people always rob other people? They break the other people's cars, they break other people's windows, they break other people's homes. But you will never hear that there's a mob that has gone and attacked Maryam Nawaz's house, or there is a mob that has attacked the governor's house, or there is a mob that has gone up to, the court and attacked the court, or there is a mob that has gone to the army chief's house and attacked the army chief. No, you'll never hear it, because those mobs, all those people, at the end of the day, they're under whom? These same people. So they will never go and attack them. And this is where again you get your proof that these people have the backing of the police, who in turn has the backing of a minister, who in turn is working the whole scam for Maryam Nawaz and her family, or the army chief and his family. And this is how, sorry, and this is how it works in countries like ours. If you're a drug mafia, you cannot exist in Pakistan without somebody in the police working with you. And that person in the police has somebody in the ministry working with him. And that person in the ministry, again, is answerable to Zardari family or Sharif family or the army. Remember how I talked about how this government and this army is the one that has actually been pushing drugs into this country, where even in the form of candies, children are taking drugs without even knowing it, where they have easy access to ice without even knowing it, because they want to ruin the youth. Remember, I've been talking about this. Now you can see how they are actively trying to work the youth. Nothing happens without a reason, and nothing happens without your own government being involved. It doesn't matter if you're America, it doesn't matter if you're Britain, it doesn't matter if you're any other freaking country out there. Because if your government is not involved, then these gangs, these criminals, these drug traffickers or sex traffickers, they wouldn't exist for too long. They wouldn't be such big monopolizing agents that they are. They wouldn't continue for years the way they have. These rackets are successful because the governments are involved. And the Epstein files is a perfect example of what I've been trying to say. Yeah, the Epstein files, yeah, no shocker. This is something we've known for years. And you've got to be the most, I don't know what kind of a rock you've been living under if this file thing, this whole scandal has shocked you. Because really, we've known it for decades. Where are you living? This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.